Some evil little person in their basement, eating some, terrible food, decides to do something bad anonymously at no cost, immediately, to a huge number of people. Yes, let's go. And so the wrong-minded kinds of people started taking advantage of that capability.
It's hard to know to what degree people are just trying to provoke or incite and create more sort of hatred and more conflict.
How many people out there are just, I guess the term is trolling all day, just looking for something to tear apart and eviscerate.
The security organization I did the iPad thing under is Goatsy Security. The motto is gaping holes exposed. Nina Totenberg was saying Goatsy on NPR. They had Goatsy, like, big letters, center of the frame on CNN, and like millions of people were Googling Goatsy. The press didn't know what Goatsy was at the time. now they're aware. A troll is somebody who uses rhetoric to inflame or provoke a response in others. The FBI search warrant and the criminal complaint says that that a troll is somebody who disrupts services on the internet. But I've never really disrupted personally services on the internet, other than having soccer moms report child pornography to Google AdWords. That did cause a major shitstorm at LiveJournal.
The best trolls that I know are also all hackers. They started out hacking machines. Once they had a large enough barrel full of enough fish, they realized that the same sort of deterministic system that they encounter when they send commands to a remote system over the internet, they can replicate with obviously different commands, sending commands to people over the internet. And the fundamental drive of hacking, if I punch keys on a keyboard and I cause an effect, that drive is the same drive that drives trolls.
It requires no technical ability. Like you go into a pro-Ana community on some blogging service, which is girls encouraging other girls to become anorexic, and they post pictures of thinspiration, of like super skinny models and shit. And you go and you manually post a bunch of pictures of some starving African child. They like thinspiration, bitch. And that's all that trolling is. And everything that I do involves public record. It doesn't involve any compromise of anybody's servers.
Seeing activism now because the existing power structure now cares about the internet. And it wasn't until very, very recently that you're seeing this very big us versus them sort of fight. And that exists because there are so many people who regard the internet as fundamentally critical to their day-to-day lives or business operations, who really have no idea how it works.
I do believe in property rights, and the hardware that your computer has is definitely yours, but once you connect that computer to the internet, you're not like, the software that's running on it isn't an individual piece, it's like, it's part of one system, and anyone that has the capability to enter anything in that system has the ability to do so, and they should do it more often.
Yeah, you in the back. No, we are perfectly fine. I don't know about that guy, but...
There's a public AT&T web server, no password, no firewall. It is publishing customer details for iPad 3G users. And a friend of mine crawls this data set. You type in a URL into your iPad web browser, and there's a number at the end. That number is the ICC ID. It is an identifier of the SIM card, and you increment this ID by 1 and you see, somebody else's data. And he incremented a bunch of times, and I ensured the delivery of this data set into the hands of one journalist so that you could be informed, because I feel that if a big company puts you at risk, you deserve to know about it so that you can mitigate any risk that's been put to you, and so that the company can be shamed and made to look like the assholes they are, which AT&T has displayed repeated contempt for consumer privacy and for our basic civil liberties.
A man known for hacking the iPad was in court again today. Andrew Auenheimer of Fayetteville was arrested today, charged with fraud and conspiracy to access a computer without authorization.
Police raided his home in Fayetteville and found drugs, which he was also charged for, and is accused of stealing more than 100,000 email addresses and other information from iPad users.
I'm not allowed to have a smartphone. I have like this ancient LG. It doesn't really hold a charge. You know? The UN has declared internet access a human right, so I mean, my human rights are being violated.
I was trolling AT&T. I was, and I was doing it by things that they've published. Like if I'm not allowed to access things that they publish, what am I allowed to criticize them with? Am I limited to their press releases? That's what law enforcement says, is that I'm limited to their press releases.
Really, this is the only way that the corporate structure can be fought without, without a violent coup, I'd rather have some boxes owned and see, shit just ruined all over the place than people with AK-47s in the street,
You are saving lives. Okay, I'm glad you guys at least think you have noble goals.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had the private jets, I've had hotel rooms that cost more than I make in a month per day. Like, it doesn't fucking matter, really, this is what they've got us chasing, and like there's no amount of money that could bribe me with to get me to shut the fuck up.
I inspire the youth to disregard people with money and authority, and that's the biggest fucking risk. Like somebody blowing up an FBI building, that's always going to be spun out of context, but you cannot spin leaving egg on their faces.
Absolutely, there were bad actors. In fact, here at UCLA, there was some freshmen who got in trouble with the computing facility because they tried to hack it and play with it. We would hire those guys. Sometimes it worked out and sometimes it didn't. But that kind of openness and that kind of open thinking was exactly the kind of thinking we wanted.